Welcome to Crypto Rosetta. My name is Savage. Today we're going to be having a look at Bitcoin. Let's get into the price action and see what's going on. Okay, so the first thing I want to talk about here is this idea that we had a fourth wave here. Now, we were talking about the potential of having a triangle within here and actually looking to break down for this fifth wave. So we were looking for this lower range target here of this 25525 to this 25089 as a potential zone for a fifth wave. Now, one thing that I have also done here is I've measured this wave 1 and I have projected it down to the downside here, and what we have is this yellow line here. So we have actually reached 0.618 of the wave 1, which can be an area that we could look to actually truncate if this move does truncate. So there's a couple of ways of looking at this. We're going to go over the alternative where we could still be looking for some upside here and a corrective pattern. But within this count, we're looking at this as 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So we have also reached another target level, which is this 0.382 of this wave 1 to 3. So we need to be careful that if this is a 5-wave move, that we don't actually have a truncation here. So we have to be aware that this really only can be confirmed by taking this high point here of this wave 4 again, and actually looking to break back above this high of this 27495. So until we actually do that, we need to be careful, because this could always become 1, 2, and then we start to break back down again. So it's going to be crucial to actually get back above this high if this is the case. Now, the thing within this count, if we're treating this as an A, B, and a C to the downside, this could tie into that idea of the fact that we were looking for this lower support range, and we're looking for the potential here to actually see a reversal from this point. So we need to be on the lookout for a potential reversal out of this area here. If we do start to break up in a bigger way, it could be in fact that we are looking to push up in additional structure here. So what we were looking for was either the possibility of forming a bigger third wave, in which case we'd be looking for this zone of this 51k region, or alternatively, if we did get a push up to a 1-to-1, this 38,940 would be a potential target area. So you need to just be aware of that. If we do see a push to the upside here, we could actually be starting something bigger. Now, obviously, it's too early to say that we are seeing something like that, but what we need to be aware of is the fact that it is a possibility. Now, if I'm going to go back here and we're going to discuss the idea of this fifth wave, because we were talking about this yesterday, looking at this as a potential move like this, where we were talking about this as a 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Looking for an additional fourth wave to the upside and looking for another drop. So our target area we're looking for was actually this 25,949 to this 25,735. So we have actually come down into this region. So we could argue that this is a completed move like this, where this is 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Now, what I'm just being mindful of is there are a couple of ways of counting these internals here. And we just need to be aware that if we do look to reverse out of here, we need to be just careful of this zone here of this 26552 and this 26390. So why I'm saying that is we could still potentially argue that we had within this we had 1, 2, 1, 2. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for the yellow wave 3, and we could see a fourth and a fifth here for the yellow wave to complete, and then we would still be looking for additional waves to the downside. So it's going to be key here. If we want to say that we have a completed move here to actually get back above this high of this 27,514. Until we do that, we need to be aware that there is still the potential of this more bearish option here, where we could actually look to extend out further. So what we need to be careful of here is primarily any kind of a three-wave move up into this 26,552 area, and then, you know, if we get a rejection, we'd have to see if we break this low. If this low maintains here at this 25,871, potentially we could start to see a move to the upside develop in a 5-wave sequence. So what I'm looking out for here is if we get a 3-wave move to the upside and we fail to break this 27,149, what I would be focusing on is continuation to the downside here. Now, if we did see a move like this, obviously, these targets would have changed now, because we plotted this out before we had this lower low in place here. What we would be looking for is actually a bigger third wave, which could look to push us down towards this zone of this 24,373. Now, one thing that I want to say here is, obviously, we don't have confirmation of this yet. This is looking for that possibility of continuation. This would look to actually change how we're looking at this entire structure here then, because if we did see a bigger 5-wave move to the downside like this, what we would have to either argue is that we are getting some extension in here where this becomes a W, this becomes an X, this becomes a Y, where we'd be looking for A, B, and C, something like this. Or alternatively, what we'd be saying within here is that within this move, we're starting to extend out, and we'd probably have to subdivide somewhere in here that, this would be either the fifth wave extending, or we would have an extension from further back here where this is actually 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we need to just be careful of that idea, because like we have talked about previously within the videos, we just need to be cautious, because if we do see a push down towards this 1.618 level, we're just sitting here towards this 23,878, we need to be aware that we would have reached 1.618 of this as an A wave. So just need to be aware of this, and if we do break down lower here, this could signal that we have a bigger 5-wave sequence to the downside, but we haven't done that yet, so we just need to be aware that this is still a bearish scenario here. For as long as we actually remain below this high of this 27,514, we can look to actually potentially break down. So if that's the case, this rejection area here is going to be a zone to keep an eye on, this 27,141 to this 26,686. But like I said, in the shorter term here, we just need to be aware that if we have a 3-wave move here and reject down in another 5-wave move, it would imply that this yellow 3rd wave is actually at this low, and then we are looking at this as a 4th and a 5th, which would mean that we potentially still have the blue 4th and a 5th to come. So we need to just be aware that until we actually break above these levels, we do still have this potential for continuation to the downside. So we did actually come down here, and we did take out this low, and we also took out this daily point of control. So I'm going to take those off the chart now. Now, the other way we were discussing this move, and this is looking for the potential that we could actually see something more along these lines, where we actually see something like this, where this becomes a W, this becomes an X, and this becomes a Y. So we need to be aware that if we do see something like this play out, this would tie into the other count where we're looking for this as a potential X wave to the upside. Or alternatively, we could also argue that we are looking for a bigger X wave in the case where this whole move to the downside here is ABC for a W. So these are the two ways that we're looking for that continuation to the downside. Now, if we are looking for this as an A, B, and a C, or a W, X, and a Y, because the fact is we've come down to a typical area that we could start to look for a flat correction in this space, because we've come down deep, we've come down past this 854. This ties in with the idea of potentially getting a 5-wave sequence to the upside as a flat correction. Now, if this is a regular flat, what we could actually see is this move come up towards this 27,734 at a 1-to-1. It can look to actually push up past this zone, so we have to just be aware of that. If it does look to extend out, what I would be looking at is some of these target areas here. Now, if we are looking at this as a potential zone, what we would be looking for is that 1-to-1 here, like I said, is at this 27,724. Then we do have some higher areas here. This would be the 1.236. This would be the 1.382. And then finally, higher up here, we have this 1.618, which is sitting towards this 28,868. So if we do look to extend up here in a flat correction, in a bigger 5-wave move, this could tie into this idea. The thing is that within this structure here, we still haven't invalidated that bullish potential either, where we were talking about this possibility of actually seeing this as an impulse. Now, the reason I'm not too keen on this idea is the size of the wave 2, but sometimes this can happen when we get a more complex wave 2. It can be disproportionate to this as a wave 1. So the only way we would get a confirmation of this this count would actually be looking for this to be to actually get a bigger break to the upside and a bigger 5-wave move, which actually looks to push up towards a zone of this 29,745. Now, this would tie into the idea of having a bigger flat correction from further back here, where in fact this whole move here is still a B wave. So if we do get a 5-wave move up here, this could potentially look to push us up towards this 30,553 to this 30,055. This would tie in with that idea of having a bigger move here. The thing is, if we look at the size of this wave 2, that would mean that we would have to have quite a big wave 4 as well to match the time that this wave 2 took. Now, if we are looking at this as a flat correction in a wave 2, which is already less likely because typically speaking we get a zigzag, but it is possible. But if this is the case, often what we tend to get is an extension in this third wave if we do have a flat correction. So if this is the case and we are looking to push up, we need to just be aware that technically speaking, a move up towards this 31,880 would not be uncommon for a wave 3 after a flat. So need to keep an eye on this. If we do start to extend up higher here, this could be a potential zone here. Now that flat area that we were looking for as a potential rejection was actually higher up here towards this 30,673. So that was looking at this move here as A, B, and then looking for this as a C wave. So coming back into these zones would not be uncommon for a flat area. Though we do have the 1-to-1 if this would be a truncation lower down here. Now the problem is that if we are looking at this as a flat correction here, we need to treat this as a wave 1-2. So if we are looking at this, it becomes unlikely that we're going to see a third wave that stops at this 28720, as it wouldn't have reached 1.618. It can happen, but this is less likely. So if we are looking to reverse from this point, what I would be on the lookout for is basically a 5-wave move that brings us back into this red box area here of this 30,673 to this 29,451. Now, it is always possible we could see something like a diagonal play out here, in which case that would make it likely that we would actually rather finish lower down here towards this 1-to-1 area. So we're going to have to give it a bit of space and see exactly how these waves form. But effectively, at the moment, what we need to see is whether we can first get above that wave 4 location and then see whether this move actually breaks back above these highs. Breaking back above these highs in a 3-wave move, we'd have to be cautious because this could be W, X, and Y, and then we could actually look for continuation still to the downside. Alternatively, even if we do get a WXY, we could still find support if we are looking at this as a as the bigger WX and a Y to the downside, where we look at this as an X wave. We could actually form a 3-wave move up here for an A. Then we could get a 3-wave move to the downside for a B, and then still actually see a C wave to the upside if this is the case. So we need to just be aware that, you know, there's multiple ways that this can actually look to play out. If we do move up there, that could be one of the ways that we are doing it. Now, the other thing I want to talk about is the possibility that we are looking to reverse from this point. And what I'd be looking for here is something like this. So I'm actually going to come down here into the 30-minute chart and get right in on this. So what we were looking for here is, if we're saying that, you know, we've had a 5-wave move that's completed into these lows here, what we'd be looking for is a potential for a reversal out of this point. So in the short term here, what I would be looking at is the fact that we look at this as a 5-wave move here. This becomes either A, B, and C, and we actually get a push one more time to the downside towards the zone of this 26,137 to this 25,963, and then look for a bigger push to the upside. Now, it is possible that this move over here in itself could already be a completed corrective move, and we could look to actually just push up directly, where this becomes another 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then we'd be looking for this as a target area towards the zone of this 26,815. If we did get a move up into the zone, we'd be looking for a 4th and a 5th, which would set us up for a move towards this 27K region. And then from there, what we'd want to see, if this move is actually looking to continue to the upside, we'd want to see a 5-wave move up like this, 3-wave move back to the downside, which would then look to find support here between this 26,399 to this 26,096. This will be a key area here as a zone that we don't want to lose if we do get a move up into this red box area here. So this is what I'm looking out for, the potential that we could actually start to move away from here. Now, this in itself wouldn't be enough to confirm an impulse. What we'd have to do is see a 3-wave move back down into this green target box area, and then actually seeing a bigger move to the upside. So I'm going to go off this 0.618 here, and what we'd then be looking for is basically that we would want to see this play out as 1 to a bigger 3rd wave up to this 27,990 area, looking for a 4th and then a 5th wave to the upside. So we can see how this would actually bring us back into that, back into the swing high here, which would be quite an interesting zone, because we do also have this weekly naked point of control up here at this 28,055. So if we do see a move up here like this could just be a corrective flat here, where we look at this as A, this is B, this is C, and then we actually still look to break down from there. So what we need to see if we want to talk about, you know, trend reversals out of this area, is we need to see this bigger 5-wave move play out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then we'd want to see an additional 3-wave move to the downside, and then a push to the upside. Now it is also possible we could form something like this: 1, 2, 1, 2, and then look to push away from the zone. So that's the two things that I'm looking out for that possibility of a reversal. Obviously, we need to be patient here. We don't have a lot to go off. There is potential that we could move away from this zone, but we do need to be careful, like I said, of that possibility of an ABC up and towards this 26,550, looking to potentially challenge these highs here, and then looking to actually break this low. This bullish potential here is only valid for as long as we hold this 25,871. If we fail to hold this 25,871, then basically we'd be looking for that potential that we could actually still see an additional 5th wave to the downside here. And it would then imply that what we have here is 1, 2, 3, this would be 4, 5, and then we'd have an additional 1, 2, this would all become 3, 4, and 5, which would actually tie in to bring us back into this channel line, which is sitting here towards this 25,570 area. So just need to keep an eye on that. If we do look to continue to break down, that could be something that we see, which would actually push us deeper into that typical 5th wave area that we were discussing, which would actually be here, this 25,525 to this 25,089. So it's possible that we could actually see this reverse, but we need to get back above these highs. Until we do so, we need to be aware that there is always the potential for continuation when we have 5-wave structures, until we actually take the high point of those moves. Okay, so I'm going to leave the video there. I hope you found it useful. If you did, please smash the like button, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, turn on those bell notifications so you never miss a video, and leave us some feedback down below. Everyone have a great day. We'll see you in the next one. Take care.